Hello, and welcome to the 1994 Lillehammer Winter Olympics. I'm John.
And I'm Ben, and boy do we have a lineup of great competitors this year. Some really lovely, lovely young women. First off, we've got Brittany Tennell. Oh, Brittany Tennell says she has just put it out there today that she feels she is the one for the Olympic gold this year, John.
I don't know. She's got Ashley Wagner right on her heels. I think Ashley Wagner could be the one to beat this year.
What do you think needs to happen in order for Brittany Tennell to beat Ashley Wagner, John?
Well, I think a lead pipe could come in handy.
I was thinking more of a barbed wire wrapped bat, personally.
I think that would do the trick.
Either way, this is Cinema Gulp, and this is our review of I, Tonya. I, Tonya. I just got back from seeing that movie. John, what'd you think?
I liked it. I thought it was pretty good.
Ben, liked it as well.
Nice. Yeah, it had fun energy to the movie. I thought, some really great performances I thought in the movie. It did take a little while to get going. I feel like the characters start off very unlikable. There's this mother-daughter relationship that is toxic. It reminded me of Lady Bird, but in Lady Bird, the characters are supposed to be very relatable, and the movie is somewhat realistic, a dose of reality. Whereas this one, they're more caricatures. Even though they were really hard to like characters, because they were portrayed not so realistic, and I feel like the movie at times even kind of feels like a tabloid. It plays out kind of, it's a tabloid story, and I think the movie has elements that kind of feel like you're watching the Weekly Star come to life.
Yeah.
And so that helped me kind of enjoy these characters, even though they're kind of despicable at times.
Well, I'll tell you, John, that mother-daughter relationship is Lady Bird times 1,000. Though.
Yes,
I mean,
for sure.
When your mother is calling you a dirty, hoey cunt, you ice skating slut.
You skated like a graceless bull dyke. I was embarrassed for you.
Allison Janney?
Allison Janney is, she is fucking so crazy awesome in this movie.
She's crazy awesome her whole career.
Yeah.
She can jump from comedy to drama to whatever. She's a really talented actress.
Yeah.
I think she's finally going to get her due and probably get an Oscar nomination.
And rightfully so.
I think she's done some really great performances all throughout her career.
Me too.
So this doesn't necessarily mean this is her best performance or the most standout of her career, but I think it's her time. I think she's finally going to get her due.
And she's funny. The thing what I want to say about I, Tonya, is that I feel that this movie it plays out like an older Scorsese film, kind of like in the lines of Wolf of Wall Street. What I mean by that,
well, that's not an older film of his, but
but because Wolf of Wall Street kind of came back to that form from
I agree.
Goodfellas. But it has a lot of fourth wall breaking, and it's played for laughs, but in a very manic, dark type of manner where I never found the tone of this film shifting, whether or not it's Tonya Harding getting beaten up by her boyfriend, or whether she's putting a cigarette out with her ice skating blade, or whether it's the somewhat inspirational type of moments where she's actually ice skating and pulling off those triple Lindies. The movie is so tonally perfect, in my opinion. It stays no matter how dark the material gets. It's still kind of a funny. It takes itself seriously, but only in a certain way, and I think it really stays on point throughout the whole movie.
It actually gets better as it goes along. Like I was saying, it took a little bit for me to get into this movie, to get invested in the characters, but once it gets going, I was on the ride, and they call it the incident in the film.
Nancy Cartwright.
Yeah, Nancy Cartwright. No, Nancy Kerrigan, when she's getting kneecapped, they call that the incident. The movie is enjoyable leading up to that moment, but within that moment, when they mention, here comes the incident, it's like a 20-30 minute section of the film that really deals with that.
Yeah.
And that's just, there's some gold in there of
there
humor.
Really is.
There's some great moments.
Yeah, it plays that last scene. It's so crazy. It does remind me of the Goodfellas ending, where Ray Liotta's got to get from one place to the next, and he's looking about the cops, or even Jackie Brown, where you see the kind of three different perspectives in the mall. Like, everything gets paced really manic and quick, and it's this person's word against this person's word, and they're talking to the camera. Which one's telling the truth? We don't know. I don't know if we really ever know by the end of the film. Which I think Jeff, the boyfriend, kind of gives the last word. And at least as far as the interview, because this movie has aspect ratio changes throughout as it's going for these kind of reenactments of the interviews. Yeah, these mock interviews. And by the way, I love this cast, and we'll get into the cast, but I can't believe how good Sebastian Stan was in this movie, because I've never liked him as an actor. I've always thought he doesn't channel characters at all. And in this movie, I think he got lost in the role, and you didn't see the Winter Soldier. You saw this guy, this pathetic piece of shit.
And you talked about the different perspectives in the film,
Yeah.
and that's how the fourth, a lot of these moments, the mock interviews and the fourth wall breaks, they play into that. Yeah, everybody is giving their story, their version of the story, and they're all slightly different. You don't know who is telling the truth, and there's a lot of fun juxtaposition when you see, you know, one of them saying this is how it went down, but then the next scene is completely the opposite of that.
It's great.
And then it cuts back to the mom saying, yeah, that's exactly how it went down, or whatever. So I thought that was really fun. Like, that was a fun element of the screenplay, having these different perspectives and never knowing who's really telling the truth. Even Tonya herself, you never know if you can trust her side of the story. Even the judges and the ice skating commission or whatever is really kind of working against her and trying to keep her down. They don't think she fits the image that they're trying to sell of, you know, the pretty ice princess.
You kind of feel bad for her a little bit in those moments.
So they make her sympathetic, and you do feel bad for her.
Yeah.
Even in the end, you know, they really, there's some moments where they really do try and make her sympathetic. But then even at the very end, she kind of blames the audience. She blames America and us, right to us as the audience of, you know, this is your fault. You've been abusing me your whole life as well.
And she has a point, though, because she says you guys love someone to love, but boy, do you love someone to hate.
Yeah.
And she has such a great point.
We loved her as a tabloid joke. And, you know,
I think the way Craig Gillespie, the director, who did a great job, his best movie today, I think the way he wanted you to take it was from all those varying perspectives, where, I mean, there's, you know, where Jeff, the boyfriend, is like, you know, well, she tried to kill me, and then, well, I remember that a little bit differently, and then she says what she did, and then after a while, the whole movie plays out that way. So in the end, when she becomes very sympathetic, where you're almost like, wow, did she really even have anything to do with that whole thing? Does she deserve this punishment that she's getting from the world and from the media? You don't know if that's real or not, and the director did such a good job of conveying that he's not telling you she had nothing to do with things. He's telling you that from her perspective, she didn't. You know?
Exactly.
And she may really believe that.
It's kind of played like Sebastian Stan's character only thought certain things were going to happen.
Yeah.
And then the standout comedy role in this film,
oh god,
the bodyguard character, I forget his name, he's so fucking funny, so fucking awesome.
That guy is amazing.
But it really, in the film, it's like his plan to take it as far as it goes, and the two idiots that he hires to help pull this thing off, the combination of those three characters for the short time they're on screen is just fucking hilarious.
We've got to give a shout out to Paul Walter Hauser, who played Sean, the bodyguard, because he owns the second half of this movie. So funny, so weird. Oh well, Margot Robbie is excellent. She deserves an Oscar nomination, in my opinion. I think she's fantastic.
I didn't think she disappeared in the role, especially like if you actually look at the real Tonya Harding. She's too pretty.
She's too pretty.
But I mean,
Charlize
Theron found a way to pull it off. But yeah, I do think she was excellent in the role. I just, you know, she didn't completely disappear, but she did a great job. Like the film, I think her performance gets better as it goes along, and towards the end she does have some really standout moments. She kind of has like a black swan moment towards the end, and I think she's going to be deserving of an Oscar nomination if she gets one.
I hope so. I enjoyed her performance completely.
Yeah.
And then we said Allison Janney. I can't say enough about her. I love her every time she's on screen. I didn't even know she was in this movie. And then when I saw her, I was like, yes. And then as I see who she's going to play, I'm like, even yes-er.
There's a lot of fun moments where you see costumes and hairstyles from the 80s and 90s that are fun. But when they deal with aging the characters throughout the film, especially like having to see Sebastian Stan and Margot Robbie as teenagers, it wasn't very believable.
Especially him.
Yeah. And I think he's a little older than her as a character, but it still wasn't believable him being even close to her age. So I had a little bit of issue with some of like the makeup and aging effects used throughout the film.
I'll agree with that.
And also the digital CGI face of Margot Robbie on the ice skater when she's doing all of her performances. That stood out to me.
No idea about that. I'd never noticed it.
Well, maybe I'm wrong, but unless Margot Robbie really knows how to do a triple Lindy.
I just figured it was triple. I just figured it was a stunt person. I never paid
Well,
attention to
the
it.
moments where she's coming right to camera, you see her face. It
didn't-
felt very digital to me, but maybe I'm wrong.
No, maybe you're right. I just didn't. I didn't notice. I think she did one of those. It was a celebrity boxing
I
thing.
thought
that
it was
they-
just celebrity
where
deathmatch
it's like
or whatever.
Todd Bridges is fighting like fucking Wilford Brimley or whatever.
I want to see that.
So, John, we just saw Brandy Tennell pull off the triple limby for the first time in Olympic history, and it got her the gold medal. Gold, John, gold!
Brandy Tennell may have slipped Ashley Wagner a little something in her drink last night.
What I wouldn't do to be a fly on the wall in that hotel room, John.
My score for I, Tonya, I'm going to give it some pretty good marks. I think it had some great moments. I think her triple Lindy was the best I've ever seen. I'm going to give I, Tonya a gulp score of 6.25.
Lots of great performances, very funny film. So for me, John, I'm going to give I, Tonya an 8.
So that was our review for I, Tonya. We both really enjoyed the movie. Go out and check it out. Come back, let us know what you thought of the movie and of our review.
As always, if you like this review, please leave some comments in the comment section below. Click like and or subscribe to Cinema Gulp today. John, where can they find us?
Check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Look for us under Cinema Gulp.
Until next time, I'm Ben.
And I, John.
And I and
Drink.
we are
I,
drink
your...
cinema.
Okay, next up, Tonya is coming to the ice.
Oh! Now she's going for the triple axel, and does she get it? Oh!